What's up, everyone? It's been a hot minute since I've given everyone an update since I last got the truck back. So I thought I'd make a little bit of a list on all the things that I've done to the truck over the last couple of months since I've done a big upload. Things that have gone the wrong way, things that have worked for me, things that haven't. But as the truck sits right now, I'm super stoked, and it feels like a whole totally different truck. I've held back on some of the making a video a bit early because of the wind, so you gotta bear with me for a second, and hopefully the video doesn't turn out too bad. But cool. So since the last time I uploaded a video to you guys, I ran into the issue of rust in the fuel tank. So I dropped it off to a local place that cleans like radiators, things like that, fuel tanks, the whole lot, and they come back after a couple of weeks. After I called up to find out how they were going with it, they said, "Oh, we took down your wrong number. However, the fuel tank is cactus, so they advised me to just get a new one." So I went and got a new one, painted her up, trying to get the fuel tank on there. It's a bit of a different story. Took some of the paint off that I spent a bit of time doing. However, got that in there, so I got that one off. All American driveline down in the Gold Coast, and they had it to me within 3 days, so it was good. I was able to whack that one on there, and whilst the fuel tank was off, I took the opportunity to put a new fuel pump in. I went an electric red Holy fuel pump with a regulator, and I increased the fuel line hose to 3/8 in size, so the fuel pressure is a lot better, considering initially when I got it back, had a few pieces of advice from some people that the potential that it had was limited by the fuel that the truck was getting. So we put the 3/8 hose in the fuel pump, and I'm pretty happy with how that's looking at the moment. So definitely a noticeable change. But yeah, so move on now to what else I have done. I prepared the bonnet this time, so you guys don't have to watch me try and open it. So might look a little bit different since last time. So from there, guys, I went on and whilst the fuel tank was off, I took the opportunity to put on an Edelbrock air gap manifold. Now, I really like the air gap manifold, and I've done this whole process myself, just through watching YouTube videos. I got a really good video off that, the Cleveland brothers, on their how to replace a manifold. Me personally, I ran into an issue, so tip for everyone, and I don't know why this went straight over my head, but if you get an air gap manifold, you need to get new bolts as well, because I tried to put the existing old OEM bolts back in, and unfortunately this one right here, I snapped it inside the heads. So that was probably what took a lot of my time, because then I got the easy out kit to get the bolt out, and then I snapped a drill bit inside the bolt that was stuck in there. So every single drill bit that I put into that snapped bolt to try and get out, it just ate every single drill bit. Took me a few days to get out, and once I did, I ended up drilling the head bolt size a little bit bigger, and I put a helicoil on it with a mate from work, and it wound straight in. And they ordered a new set of ARP head stub bolts to suit the manifold, and she's good to go. Haven't had any leaks, and I use the red gasket maker and some Felpro for Cleveland. So from there, then I had bought an MSD distributor, MSD superconductor leads, the big coil, and the 6AL2 multiple spark discharge with a 2-step rev limiter. So I'm not very 12 volt savvy, but I made a conscious effort to learn how to do all this, and I actually wired this one in myself. I was very stoked that from all the videos and the learning that I got from YouTube, it's helped me understand 12 volt a little bit better. So this dizzy here, because the engine out of this one is from a 1981 LTD. So I actually had to have the shaft of the dizzy milled down to 12.5 because it came new at 13 mil, so it wasn't fitting in. So it can be done. The dizzy just has to be pulled apart, and I took it to a local dude who does rust repairs and has all the machinery to get it done, and he milled it down for me in a day. Dropped straight in. I haven't had an issue with it. So now we'll go to timing with it. I was playing around with all the different options with the MSD dizzy, and it comes with the advanced bushings, I think, so you can pick your different advanced curves. I went through all of them and I wasn't happy with them. I found that it would bog out at about 4k RPM, so I ended up locking out the advance as a whole, and the truck has been way better since. I think I did total degree timing is about 36, so I think it was like 26 plus 10, or anyway, my maths is around 35, 36 total timing. So yeah, so then I ended up getting a Aeroflow air filter, the deep one. Had to change out the carburetor stud to fit it in, and that's 4 inches. I just like the way it looks, black. It's real nice. So yeah, that was sort of the ignition setup that I went for. And I also put a little tacho, where are we? Little automated tacho just in here that you can see there. So yeah. What else did we do? Back to my list. Cool. So probably a hot topic for everyone that I see this question raised in the truck group all the time. Extractors with power steering. So my last big spending was the power steer when I got it back a couple of months ago, and I had it in there to get extractors but not power steering, and then we decided to do the power steering and then we couldn't fit extractors on, so I was absolutely bummed. Anyway, I went down to the online, I think F Trucks Are Us. They sell a pair of extractors to suit with power steering, who funnily enough I got the kit from as well, the power steering kit from as well. So took it around to my exhaust dude and he says, yep, well, if he says they'll fit, they'll fit. We'll see how we go. So we ended up getting them on. So, I'll go underneath now. Bloody hold up under here. So hopefully this works. As you can see, I've got a bit of oil, probably from the change that I did. Anyway, the extractors are super duper close, super duper tight. It took a little bit of bashing to get in there, but you got the job done. It's probably not the best angle. Drag up here. Everything is super duper tight. The starter motor was running into the starter motor, so I went and bought a high torque mini starter, but we ended up just being able to bash them on there, get them in without it actually interfering the starter. Once everything lined up, we thought, okay, we'll take the opportunity later to put the high torque starter motor in. While I'm down here, I'll just go to one of the best decisions I ended up doing recently was putting this deep dish C6 transmission coolant pan on there. Holy moly, this thing has made a massive difference to the way that the truck drives. And I have to roll out. We also put in, took out the old cooler from that was at the front of the grill, and I chucked in an Aeroflow transmission cooler under the tub with a fan. Got some spaces on it so the cool air can still get in between the tub and the cooler itself to get the fresh air in. And I run the lines all the way back to the transmission. So yeah, I live in Townsville. I've been far north Queensland, and I didn't notice that the transmission itself was struggling as much through the winter, but it's getting real bloody hot up here. Within 20 minutes, the truck felt tired, really hard to get through the gears. I had to put my foot right into it to try and get some sort of acceleration advance, I guess, out of it. But it's recommended that I should consider doing a new deeper dish transmission pan. So I got that RTE one. I think it was like $400, and I think that's probably the best $400 I've ever spent on the truck. The fan is on a switch, so that was the fan and Aeroflow combo cost me roughly $500. But now having that deeper dish pan underneath with the fins on it, the fan itself isn't actually kicking in until about maybe 50 minutes of driving. If I've driven that far, it's only kicked in twice since I've had it on there, but massive difference, and I highly recommend that one if you guys are thinking about doing it. You won't look back on that. It was fairly simple to change out. Just take the pan off, take the old filter out, and make sure the new gasket's on there and chuck the new pan on, fill her up. And yeah, that was probably one of the best things I've done recently. What else we got here? Now, this is probably a topic. I've been thinking about it and hadn't wanted to put the money into it because I'd only at the start of the year gotten a Holy 600 with vacuum secondaries carby put on it, which was a great carb. However, I used to work at a motorbike shop, and that's where I get a lot of my info from, because the old boss, who's a great friend, is a Ford fanatic, knows a lot about them. He said, I have so much potential, but I'm limited by the carb choice. And he's been, yeah, you need a carb. And I've been like, yeah, I'll get one. I've got to wait till Christmas. I spent too much money. However, his friend has a donor carb and said, look, I think it'd be a bit of a learning piece for myself as well. He said, we've got a 750 carb. Why don't you come around, try it on, and see if you like it until you work out what you want to do. So this just happened recently, 2 days ago on Friday. Went around to the old workshop, had a couple of beers and changed out the carb. It was actually a really ripper time. Had fun with the guys. 2 old bosses stood back and had a couple of beers and watched 3 of us put the new carby on, and then went for a couple of test laps. It was a lot of fun. However, this carb has totally changed the way that the truck is. I cannot believe it. The fuel response, it's just crazy. It's just the way that the acceleration responds to putting your foot is a lot more snappier. I'm super stoked with it, and I think I'm going to sell my 600 carb and give them the cash that I get from that to keep this one for myself. So I'll get into it shortly. I'll start the truck up and show you guys how it's sounding with the extractors and the fuel pump. You probably hate the noise of the fuel pump, but I don't mind. I think it's more practical for me. But one more thing that I did whilst I was waiting for things to be repaired and whatnot. So if you can remember, I've got the old Hurricane wheels on here. I managed to find a spare, and what I did was I was considering getting these refurbished, bringing them up, repainted, cleaned up as much as I could, by a business that does it up here in Townsville. But I'd exhausted a lot of cash in the last couple of months doing the things that I've done, that I thought I'm gonna give it a crack myself. And this is how my spare turned out. So she painted. Sun. Now, my question for you guys is, do you think I should go through and do all 4 of them? Or do you think I should keep it sort of that old ratty Hurricane look? Would love to know. Back to my list. Plans. The next plans for the truck. So I've got a tonneau cover quote. About to pay the deposit on that. It's a custom one. I didn't want to go for a universal one because I don't think I'd be happy with how it looked. The custom one that I went with, as you can see, this is all frayed. The elastic has come out the top of it. It just looks shit. So the custom one I got, black in colour, stainless steel rings through the ring so the elastic won't tear through it. It's by a local dude here in Townsville. $1,200. I think that for a custom one that you know is definitely going to fit, and that is quality made by a upholstery dude, I think that's a great price. He's going to do my bench seat for me, my sun visors, and my roof panel. So plans for this is I'm doing like a leather bench seat where the middle will drop down, have 2 cup holders in it, you drop it back up, and where your passenger and your driver's seat sits, it'll be sort of sunk down a little bit in. Brown and light brown leather with some diamond stitching, a couple little emblems. It's gonna look shit hot. Can't wait. But would love to get it tinted. I actually didn't add this to my list, but all inside here was pretty much rusted as such, so I dug all that out and I ordered some new ones from AutoWare. They came within like 2 weeks, replaced it. Makes it look so much better, but that was on the cards before I wanted to get some window tint, because I didn't want to get some window tint and have all the rusty shit inside it scratch me window tint. And the wind's not out of my page. What else? I think the next big performance sort of upgrade that'll totally change the truck is I want to get a high stall converter, torque converter. So we're going to look at a place that my old boss he had an old Falcon that he sent in all the, what do you want to call it? All the info and details of his car and what he wanted to achieve, and they custom made this TCI torque converter for him. But yeah, the truck is sort of limited from where it's at right now until I probably get a torque converter. Maybe some heads in the future, but these ones are fine for now. But apart from that, yeah, I would love to lower it, but that's also one thing I'd like, but the missus loves being up in the high car because that's me daily. It's a tiny little Golf. But yeah, so what we'll do now is I'll start her up and I'm going to take it around the block because I don't want to annoy the neighbours, and I'll set it up and give it a nice rev so you can sort of hear the difference. But yeah, don't mind that car. It's my next door neighbours it's a piece of shit that makes our house just look like shit. But yeah, so I'll set these up. Right, time to wait for the cab again. So what we'll do is now go for a little drive around the block. What I did do, I just whacked a little phone mount there so you can hear her while she runs. We'll pull up, set the camera up, give it a couple of nice alerts on the throttle, and that'll do us for today's video. Alright. team. Hopefully you got something out of the video. If you got any questions or ideas for extra videos, until I do some other big upgrades or whatnot, probably just keep taking those little videos. I really admire me truck. Alright team, thank you, bye.